For the 5th time in the 3rd straight year, the Pirelli World Challenge comes ashore at Belle Isle, just north of Detroit, for rounds 5 and 6 of the Pirelli World Challenge GT and GTS Championships. Revs coming up, we're green!
Big move coming off the 3.
2, 3, 4 abreast in some spots.
Side-by-side action.
He absolutely nailed it.
Three-way battle.
And we've got an incident. You would expect nothing less.
Oh, clips the inside apex.
Very racy. This is going to get interesting.
That is a brave move. What a pass. This is what World Challenge is all about.
Detroit, the spiritual home of the American automobile industry. This weekend at Belle Isle, it becomes a battleground. As the Pirelli World Challenge returns once again, it's time for the Cadillac V-Series Challenge presented by the Detroit Metro Cadillac dealers. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, joined as always by Calvin Fish. This is a very challenging track, a legendary street course, so it's time for our Cadillac Key Corners with Johnny O'Connell.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell with Cadillac Racing. This is the Detroit Grand Prix, and these are the Cadillac Key Corners. Turn 1, taken into 4th gear. Very fast corner, and it changes into turn 2. What's cool about it, there's this rise right here. Car gets a little bit loose, then it's up the gearbox. 5th gear, 6th gear, getting into top speed, and as we go into turn 3, this is one of our best overtaking areas. Move to the inside, it's easy to get by a guy. Down into 2nd for turn 3, up into 4th gear. This next complex, 4, 5, great combinations. 4, the car understeers through here. We use a lot of road still. Maintaining 3rd gear. 5, difficult left-hander to get through. Use all the road again coming out. And then as we go into turn 6, 2nd gear corner. Accelerate hard out, 3rd gear. The back straightaway here at Detroit, very bumpy, and because it's moving on you left and then right, hard to get by a guy, but we get all the way up into 6th gear, and then a very challenging braking zone for turn 7. Hard right-hander, you bring it right up next to the curbing, use all the road coming out, then hard on the brakes into turn 8. Little bit of a bump down into 2nd gear, accelerating through turn 9, long left-hander. Okay, the corner keeps coming at you, your car gets a little bit loose, then down into 2nd gear for turn 10. Explode out of that corner in 2nd gear. 3rd gear, 4th gear, now on the trickier corners on the racetrack. 11, it's like a little bit of kink to the right here, you're getting close to your curb. Accelerate out into 4th gear, turn 12, try not to lift, use all the road coming out. If you do it right, you'll be able to get into 6th gear before start finish, and then everything's right. You look down at your dash and see a great lap time.
Boy, does he know how to lay him down here on the pole once again, Johnny O. And as we head into our Moat Tool race analysis, big field as usual, absolutely phenomenal weather, folks. It's incredible. The track, it's a good one.
It's a great one. It's very challenging, and the weather, as you said, has been incredible. We had a lot of rain here earlier in the week, but Thursday came, and boy, oh boy, sunshine, blue skies, and very cool for this time of year.
Those track records blown out of the water in qualifying. We'll get to that in just a minute. But now let's take a look at our Pirelli storylines. This is a big one. Johnny O'Connell has won 3 of the last 4 races here, 2nd in the other one. They need points.
They need points, and this is a racetrack that should really suit the World Challenge spec cars.
Then, of course, there was a big wreck in the first practice session between the 2 teammates, Andrew Palmer and team owner James Safronis, and as a result, missed the 2nd practice session, starting a little bit further back than we might expect in quali.
Absolutely. And for Mark Wilkins, well, he holds on to that GTS points lead right now, but Nick Johnson is right on his tail, his teammate, and you can't count out the wily veteran Jack Baldwin. He's right there in 3rd spot as we enter this round.
And celebrating a birthday this weekend as well. Well, our Moat Tool Pole Award winners, as we mentioned, Johnny O'Connell in that number 3 Cadillac, an amazing lap in qualifying, setting a new track record here. And in GTS, a huge story, Dean Martin, after the big wreck at Barber, coming back, putting a built-up show car on pole and also setting a new track record. But that was qualifying. Now it's time to go racing. Here's Cadillac's Jim Verpilot.
Welcome to the Cadillac V-Series Challenge at Belle Isle. Drivers, start your engines.
That is an absolutely wonderful sound. This is an amazing grid that is on the line once again, getting ready to go for round 5 of the championship. The port is alive. We'll be alive with racing when we come back. The Rensen, GM's world headquarters, shimmering in the background, but no pressure for the folks from Chevy and Ford and Cadillac here at Belle Isle. Well, we are getting very close to the start of this one. The field coming up and setting positions here. And here's a look at our quad box presented by Kia, featuring these amazing GoPro cameras.
Yeah, it's going to be some awesome action. It's always busy on these street circuits here, and everyone's going to be making a move here in this early going, but you got to keep it clean. You got to stay off the walls.
Talk about making a move. The Cadillacs, the launch control at the front. How about the McLarens?
Well, we saw at Barber they really struggled. Had a stall in the initial race, tardy off the second one. Hopefully they've made some adjustments and get off the line a little bit cleaner today. They sit there in the third row. You see those blue and yellow, beautiful McLarens.
And we are just that close. That is a 10-second board our Pirelli gal is holding there. Once she raises that, it's an indicator to the field that the start sequence has begun. There will be another board issue. There we go. Grid is set. So we are very close to the start of this 5th round of the championship for the GT and GTS categories, the subcategory of GTA. You can see that GTS field, standing start through the bend of a corner. There's the 5-second board, as always. When the red wheel and lights go out, we go racing to get round 5 underway. Watch for it. Revs are up. We are looking for the start. We're green.
Great start by the front row. The caddies are away. Lazaro struggled a bit. McLaren's looking good. Looks like Figgy maybe up inside Lazaro there in turn 2.
Yeah, they really had a good march. Good to see those McLarens get off the line well. And look at this big move. Andrew Palmer trying to steam back up and get around one of the McLarens.
Mike Skeen up for second. He's got around Pilgrim. Pilgrim tries to respond here. Down into turn 3. This is our Motul braking zone.
And that is not what Pilgrim wanted to see, nor did Johnny O'Connell. He wanted his wingman back there. Boy, look at this. Still arguing for the point, Cal. Finally, Skeen able to skate through, slots into that second spot.
But look at O'Connell. He is absolutely gone. A brilliant start, perfect execution. Johnny's going to get the hammer down.
There's Safronis working around or trying to one of those McLarens as well. And interesting, you can still see it's a street circuit. You get offline a little bit in these early laps. A lot of dust and debris going. Got to be careful. Palmer taking a run at Lazaro for 3rd. What a great start for Palmer.
It was a great start. A difficult weekend for him, but he's doing a great job. But here we see Pilgrim all over the back of Skeen. Palmer looking for a way by Lazaro. Remember Lazaro, typically that Ferrari takes a couple of laps to really find its sweet spot.
And those Cadillacs with a little bit more weight, they get the Pirelli tires working much quicker. This is beautiful for O'Connell because Skeen that Audi in a few laps is going to be quick. Not as quick right now.
It isn't, but this is the ideal start for Johnny O. We talk about pressure. Perfect start. You can really have a problem here at the start. He didn't let that happen today. He's looking for his 4th victory here at Detroit.
And Safronis once again taking a look down the inside. Can't quite get that move done. Martin, I saw, did hang on to the lead at the start in GTS. We'll be back and look at that. There he comes in the white picture cars East Mustang. Roush in 2nd. Great launch by the Kias up to 3rd.
Yeah, Janssen has had a brilliant start. He's got all the way up to the 3rd, so he's very aggressive on these opening laps, and he's made a point here in the early going.
Watching some of the battlers in the GTA category, looks like it was led currently by Mills. And again now on board here, and this is a great attack. Palmer trying to figure out a way by Lazaro. He's down to the inside, Cal.
This is our Motul braking zone. Bumpy there at the entry there. He gets it done. He's down the inside. Here comes Pilgrim on Skeen.
Can't quite make the move there. And again now Lazaro trying to counterpunch, but Palmer's through. Ooh, a little loose there. Really going after it on the throttle. Bit of a protecting move down to the inside.
He immediately responds by defending that inside line to the next corner.
And Andrew Palmer gets our Optima batteries best standing start. Look at that launch by one of the McLarens, now right up along the outside shoulder of the other one, tucking right in behind Lazaro, Cal.
Look at that beautiful job, just keeps it clean. Remember, this is a guy who's in the wall here, in the fence early on Friday. A lot of confidence that young man has.
Yeah, to come out in a car that actually had missed that whole session and have to qualify. Oh, now while we were watching that, here's what happened to Tony Gaples. He got some help.
Yeah, he got some help there in turn 4.
Ooh, nice snap turn. Well done. Well, now he gets to do what I think he does as well as anybody in this series, pass people.
Yeah.
He really knows how to make up positions during a race.
He certainly does. Here we're looking at the battle for the GTS lead, led by Dean Martin. We talk about Ford, the name here in Detroit. What about Roush? Roush Jr. sits in 2nd.
Absolutely. Then, of course, you got Janssen in 3rd. Baldwin's the one who lost on the start, going from 2nd to 4th. And that doesn't happen very often. He's an old drag racer with that engine in the back there, but they just stole a march on him here, so he slots into 4th. On board with Janssen. And, boy, look at the exit speed he gets. That's that bump that O'Connell was alluding to. Now down into 3.
Down into 3, then we're looking at Ford versus Kia Power down this long straightaway. This is like a dyno check here between the engines. He looks to the inside. It's very, very late. Jack Roush Jr. shuts the door there. Nick Janssen really aggressive in these opening laps. What a move he has made.
Yeah, he has, but that was savvy, wasn't it? He got down there, said, if there's a little issue by Roush, I can get through. Roush was good. He just stayed there, tucked right back in, didn't try and force the issue, knowing there's a lot of race yet to go. Now, we talk about this all the time. It's not beating a dead horse because it is so pertinent. The Kias are front-wheel drive. They have somehow, though, Cal, come up with a setup that allows them to race these front-wheel drive tires, which take a pasting pretty aggressively.
They really do. Look at this, Alec Udell. That is a great move around Lawson Aschenbach. Oh, Aschenbach responds. This is turn 7. So Udell went to the outside, didn't get the job done. Lawson Aschenbach, as you would expect, he is defending GTS champion, responds.
And that's why that turn 7, it's a potential overtaking area, but it is difficult to do it there, isn't it?
It really is. And getting back to that Kia, you talked about the fact that they've got the front wheel drive. They've done a great job of getting the setup working. They're not burning off the outside front here around a tortuous street circuit like Detroit, but you still have to manage it a little bit, talking to the guys after qualifying.
And here's O'Connell's margin right now over Skeen. Then Pilgrim tucks in. Then Palmer drifting back just a little bit. It's up to almost 4 seconds, and it's really because these guys, we're talking about Skeen and Pilgrim, are racing a little bit.
They are, and look at Lazaro. He's dropped back a little bit. Just the setup on that Ferrari seems to take a while to come in. We're on board now with David Sturks here. Great view from our GoPro camera.
Oh, nice move down into 1. If he can pull it off, not a lot of people do. He does. He's just coming off a great win in the Oregon Pro Rally in a team that was put together by the Always Evolving program. Great for them. And here's that battle again between Aschenbach and Udell, back and forth.
It is back and forth, and Lawson Aschenbach has got a task on his hands here. I mean, Udell is looking really racy. Buffamonte right behind him, so the Fords are strong, and that Camaro certainly seems to get into the brake zones really well through the corners. Seems to be struggling a little bit in comparison to the Ford. We'll see him there as they go down this back straightaway.
All right, we're going to step away for just a minute. We're going to show you our leaders in our divisions. We'll be right back to Belle Isle. Welcome back to Belle Isle. You know, today's event is the Cadillac V-Series Challenge presented by the Metro Detroit Cadillac dealers. Cadillac has a great presence in the series, and Johnny O tells us why.
Hi, I'm Johnny O'Connell with Cadillac Racing. You might ask yourself, why does a company like Cadillac get involved with racing? Well, let me tell you, Cadillac is a lot more than just a luxury brand. It's a luxury performance brand, and performance is important to everybody. One of the things that I love is that this coupe that you're looking at, a production car at 556 horsepower, actually has more horsepower than my race car. My race car is only 515 horsepower. Why is the race car faster? Well, we make it lighter. We strip everything out of the production car. We put in roll bars, things like that, and it makes the car a lot faster. So we make this car a whole lot lighter, 1,100 pounds lighter, but still utilizing the athleticism that is built into the production car and then taking it to a whole nother level. The race car utilizes the Brembo brakes, the ABS, the traction control, all the things that you find on your production car. So when we look at this race car and then we look at the coupe, we realize that, you know what? Cadillac is a lot more than a luxury brand. It's a high-performance luxury brand.
Well, with those kind of numbers for the street car, I would say so, but they do a pretty good job on the track, too, don't they?
For the competition, lucky Johnny doesn't have a street engine in today.
Absolutely. Now, back to that battle in GTS. And Martin under immense pressure from that multicolored Ford of Jack Roush, then Nick Janssen in the Kia, then a little bit of a gap to Baldwin. Then he's got that red Kia right behind him, of course, in the form of Wilkins, and behind him, it's the blanket.
It really is. This is a great battle right now. And you look back at Baldwin and Wilkins, I think those guys are just biding their time, trying to manage their tires right now. It is intense up front. I'm sure Dean Martin would like a bit more of a cushion. Jack Roush is all over him, looking for a way through. He wants to make his father happy. Here he comes. He looks to the inside. Coming down on the front straightaway. Looks for the lead.
Oh, just couldn't quite get it done. Got squeezed. Janssen up now on the outside.
Wow.
That was that momentum shift, Cal. Can he make it work to the apex of 2? He does.
What a beautiful move. He read that perfectly and just said, I'm going to take a bit more momentum into this corner, and made it stick. Great job by Nick Janssen up to second.
And again, this is Jack Roush. Oh, look at Wilkins diving around on Baldwin. Baldwin trying to maybe get a little bit of a look down the inside of Roush. And look at Udell outside of Aschenbach. Action everywhere.
Battles all the way through this GTS field. Yeah, Baldwin was looking to the inside of Jack Roush. He looked in his mirror. Wilkins was making a move. Buffamonte down to the inside.
Yeah,
wow.
You see Udell as he tried to make that move, ended up the back end stepped out coming out of the corner. That killed his momentum. And just that little bit of a slide with these cars so close, that was enough for Buffamonte.
The field is so tight, Greg. You try and set up the guy in front of you, suddenly a guy dives down the inside, you lose a spot. You've got to be careful.
And Andy Lee in the back in that Crown 7 Best IT Camaro of that group. frustrated here this weekend. He's been a pole sitter, a winner here, and they are just frustrated. They can't figure out why they just don't have the pace.
Yeah, he's hanging on there, but he's at the back of the pack. And we're used to seeing Andy at the front of the pack here on the streets in Detroit.
Boy, and Janssen, very opportunistic here. One of the nice things here, too, is you look at first, now third, and also in Buffamani, you've got teams here driving the Mustangs that are based just outside of the Detroit area, right here in Michigan. Special for them, too.
It really is. So much importance on this weekend. Now we're looking at the battle for second. This is Skeen, continues to lead. Pilgrim there in third, and Andrew Palmer. He's starting to get in a rhythm here. Remember, he lost a lot of track time, Greg.
Yeah.
He lost that first session when he had the incident with James Safronis, his team boss and leader, and also he missed the second session as well. So he's going to be learning, getting quicker as this race progresses.
Hopping on board with Palmer, courtesy of these amazing GoPro camera shots. And you can see when we're looking at the back of his car, there's some black carbon bodywork that they had to get on. It was a pretty comprehensive hit that they had down in the turn 12 area. Meanwhile, Skeen, you would think that that car is just going to get a little quicker and quicker as long as we stay green. It's just always been, whether it was the LMS last year or the Ultra this year, takes those Audis a little while for those tires to balance up, just like that.
Oh, that is, you've got to be so careful there through turn 10. It's just maintenance throttle through there. You just try and carry a little bit more speed. The car gives up on you, and he had a moment there, and Pilgrim would have seen that. Skeen is definitely feeling the pressure. He's trying to stretch the margin, but when he tried to push it a little bit further, the grip wasn't there for him. So Pilgrim sits there in third. Palmer is coming. The Audis and the Porsche this weekend got a bigger restrictor. That gives them a little bit more straightaway speed than they had previously.
And now, Johnny O'Connell starts to catch the back of the GTS field. This is where Andy Pilgrim always says, it's a race until we catch the GTS, then it becomes a war. O'Connell through cleanly, and boy, is he going to be able to do it. Look at this. You can see Skeen flashing the lights. He's not going to get up on him by the time they turn into turn 3. They could get parked here behind Outson as they go through some of the twisty bits. See if Outson sees them coming.
This is going to be tight here in turn 4. Skeen's got to manage this carefully, otherwise Pilgrim is going to pad. Oh, look at this. He commits to the outside. Outson goes to the inside and blocks the way for Pilgrim. Pilgrim thought he had an opportunity there.
And not quite, has to duck back in, and that was another case of a driver trying to help a little bit and almost making things a little bit more interesting. Meanwhile, Martin under immense pressure from Janssen.
Janssen's made a big move, and he wants the lead of this motor race.
And it is a great battle unfolding in GTS, and the GT guys starting to hit traffic. Here is a look at our category leaders. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and while we were in that break, we have gone full course caution. The reason, lap 13 proving to indeed be a bit unlucky, Cal. And we've got some highlights to show you, or lowlights, if you will.
We've also lost Andy Pilgrim. Pilgrim was running hard behind Skeen. He's no longer in the picture.
Yeah, well, here's the first thing, and that's Mike Mills in the Porsche. Just couldn't quite get down to the inside of Drew Riggets in the Aston Martin. Tapped him, Riggets gets into the barriers. Now that hit, as we watch it once again, Cal, just wasn't there, was it?
Well, turn 6 looks inviting, but once the guy's committed to turning, you can't just dive down the inside. You're going to come together.
Now, what happened when Riggets got into those tires? There was a lot of rain earlier in the week. They were loaded with water, and when he hit, it apparently unloaded some of the water onto the track, and that made things a lot more convoluted. Watch what happens here. Again, now a different incident.
Wow, that's a really late move this time. But look further ahead. Capaldi has lost it on that water there. You see all the water on the racetrack from those tires that were hit by Riggets a little bit earlier. Capaldi loses it. Mike Mills is being really aggressive there on Landry this time.
There's the hit on Landry, and that one was a real abrupt up front. There's the big hit by Capaldi.
Big impact.
Ooh. Mills just missing that piece of debris.
I mean, I love the way Michael Mills races, but I mean, he's kind of crossing the line here. I mean, you can't make that sudden move. I mean, Landry's already looked in his mirror, think you're sitting behind him, turns into the corner, and suddenly you're there. That's going to be a problem every time.
And both of them were able to continue, although Landry has pulled into the pits now, smoke from the back of the damage on that right side. But there's that hit once again. But there is Capaldi's hit, and that was substantial. That
was a massive frontal impact. Hopefully he's okay, and the safety crew, as you would expect, are immediately on the spot.
Well, there's the good news. He's out, and he does appear to be okay. Look at that Hans device, those frontal impacts. That is huge. We're going to take a moment here to update you on our social media, world-challenge.com. You can go there for all the latest news and views on the Pirelli World Challenge. world-challengetv.com. You can check out great in-car videos, driver interviews, watch this complete race and all other Pirelli World Challenge races there on our Facebook page. Just search Pirelli World Challenge fan page. Interact with other World Challenge fans, post your race pictures and video. And Twitter, well, join the World Challenge Twitter account at twitter.com/WC Racing. Get instant updates on race weekends from the series. So that's the scenario. Everybody's settling in here. And oh, that is a big hit!
Oh my goodness,
Oh.
under caution, Marcelo Hahn just loses the back end of that Lamborghini there. Now we're on board here with Mills. We see a replay of it. I think he must just have completely forgotten about the water there. Came through that corner, had to have been on throttle there to turn the car over to that side of the racetrack. That is a scary moment, Greg.
Yeah, second in the GTA category. I don't know what other reason it could have been. Just got out there. But that's why you see those safety vehicles parking the way they do, protecting everybody behind them. There's a very special reason for that, and it was just shown all too clearly. Good that everybody is okay. We'll be right back. About to return to green here at Belle Isle for the Cadillac V-Series Challenge. Johnny O'Connell bringing him up. Look at Skeen. Can't even see him. He wants to be that close on this restart. There's the Pirelli World Challenge starter. Watch for it. The green flag flies. O'Connell rolls away. Palmer gets a nose down to the inside, Cal. A little touch, but
Wow,
he's through.
he got in there really deep, couldn't keep the apex and forced his way through. Bumped Skeen a little bit. Lazaro now tries to make us move on Skeen as they exit turn 2. On board with Wilkins.
On board here, the battle for third. Baldwin has it. Now that nose ahead of Roush. Roush trying to go around the outside. Wilkins making it at least 3 wide here. Look at that, 4 wide essentially with the GT traffic. And a late move by Wilkins. Is he going to get it done, Cal? Looks like he's through on Roush to 4th.
Yeah, he does. Baldwin hangs on to the 3rd spot. Roush is immediately demoted back to 5th. Not a good restart for Jack Roush Jr.
Boy, it's twice he's been caught on the outside, hasn't it? Lost a little bit of ground. And Udell, that
he's
black
right
and
there.
white machine, the Watson Racing entry, trying to hound him as well right now.
How deep is this field? Defending champ
Unbelievable.
sits in 7th. That tells you what it's all about in GTS this year.
There's a little bit of that dampness still as you come out of turn 6. Everybody has to be a little careful through there. Now onto this wide run down the Strand along the Detroit River. Things can settle a little bit. By the way, the reason you're not seeing Andy Pilgrim, he had a left front suspension issue, brake issue of some sort, and has called into the pits. He had a moment in the runoff at turn 3. Great save, but he's in pit lane. Meanwhile, watching Baldwin, who comes in here after that big shunt at Long Beach, responded beautifully at Barber, and if he can keep these kind of runs going, Cal, he's going to be right back in the points.
He is, and you can see he's a lot more aggressive now.
Yeah.
He knows the time on the clock is under 5 minutes. It's go time. Look at this. Dean Martin has a nice lead, and really tight there with Nick Mancuso there. It's tough when you're trying to fight your way through traffic like this. You've got to be patient.
I think Safronis just split. He did. Janssen and Baldwin, and that's going to give Nick, at least for a couple seconds, a whiff of some breathing room.
Yeah, that's
over
allowed Wilkins to
Baldwin.
actually close in on Baldwin
Yeah.
a little bit. So this is going to tighten up for that final spot on the podium.
And Roush still has Udell filling his mirrors. See if he's able to recover a little bit, drive back up. Off to the left, you just saw a flash of blue. Tony Buffamani, somebody who's going to be a player here in that Capaldi Racing Mustang, has pulled off and parked as well. On board with Baldwin. These GoPro cameras give us such incredible driver's
Brutal
eye
brake
views. Here he
zone.
goes.
Baldwin to the inside, trying to get the 2nd spot away from Janssen. What a move. Can he hang on to it? Can Janssen respond?
Boy, just the balance on that
Wow.
reset Motul Porsche, just phenomenal, and he's through. And look at this, Lazaro now coming through on Mike Skeen.
Wow, this is incredible. We talked about that Ferrari coming good late in the going. Another example of this. Lazaro, the championship leader, coming into this race, looking for another podium finish.
And for Mike Skeen and the guys at CRP, of course, a very late change after the start of the season to the Audi, still trying to wrap their minds around this FIA GT3 homologation.
Skeen.
The front end of Skeen's Audi just gave up, Cal.
Yeah, he's just pushing really hard. We saw him a few laps ago have a moment here through turn 10, so he's just pushing beyond what the car wants to give him right now, but that's what Mike Skeen's all about. He's giving it 1,000,000%.
On the limit, I think. The definitive one, and that has allowed Figge now to draw up, and they are in one of their more competitive runs, this K-Pax McLaren team. There's the 62 of Clennon has pulled off at his Aston Martin, the Premier Copier shop machine. I think he's offline. I think they'll let this race continue, Cal.
They'll let it go.
But this might
here.
change it.
Wow.
That's Jeff Reeves, teammate to Andy Lee, and he's in the barriers. That's the 04, the Aston Martin of Jorge De La Torre, one of the rookies of the championship. See what happens here. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, that's That's a thump and a half. I mean, I'm not sure what happened. Looked like De La Torre may have been slowed a little bit, and Reed just came in there at huge speed and clouts him.
Yeah, or Reeves had some sort of a failure braking or something, but that was a big double hit. So I can't imagine that is going to be able to continue racing. Meanwhile, Palmer, though, what a run, sitting in second now, but Lazzaro has closed up, as you said. Boy, the later this race goes, especially on long runs, this Ferrari is something.
Remember at Barber,
Yeah.
Palmer got the move on Lazzaro on the last lap. Can Lazzaro respond here and get a move on Palmer for the second spot on the podium? O'Connell looks strong out front.
Boy, doesn't he? Look at that margin that he has been able to build up once again. And the officials are letting this one go green.
This is great stuff. It's great to see them let these races continue.
Yes.
I mean, the drivers just have to be careful. As long as these drivers slow through these problem areas, you can do this type of action.
Actually, where that hit was, it's one of the areas where there's a lot of room off to the side, and De La Torre able to pull off. So there's a yellow waving, also a debris flag. That's that yellow flag with the red stripes. That's basically saying there's something on the track, probably just letting people still know about Glennon's car.
Yeah, absolutely. O'Connell's car looks like it's still really hooked up, just beautiful balance. Johnny just executed to perfection here today. The other three battling for that podium, they all look a little ragged. They're driving the wheels off their machines.
We are on our final lap. Can O'Connell bring home win number 4 of 5 races now over the last 3 years? There's Buffamani's entry off to the side, and there's Figgy dropping back just a little bit. And then his teammate, the other McLaren behind him, is Thorne. But boy, close. Now, look at this battle behind Baldwin. The battle for third is on, and Wilkins is coming alive.
And Jack Baldwin has really stretched the gap on those two Kias, and I think Dean Martin has too much of a margin for Jack to do anything about it with just one lap to go, though, Greg.
By the way, you see Andy Pilgrim has come back out of the pits now, just trying to accrue any kind of points he can. Another guy who's showing good form now is Alec Udell in that Watson Racing MDG entry. Look at Wilkins showing the nose to his teammate. He's got to be a little careful because Udell will pounce.
Yeah, I think Wilkins feels his car's a little bit stronger in the late going here than his teammate. He's not going to do anything silly, though, and take the Kias out. Meanwhile, up front, O'Connell continues to stride away.
Boy, it's like that. As he comes out of 11 and drives to 12, that Rensen is just an inspiration.
It's good for
beacon
job
out there.
security as well.
Absolutely it is. He is something when it comes to the pressure of racing in the shadows of that GM World Headquarters here at Detroit. Last time out of turn 11, making that run down to a very tricky turn 12 and 13, almost a double apex corner, no mistakes.
Exactly, and I think for Palmer, there's going to be a yellow through here, so it's going to be tough for anyone to try and get by him late in the going.
One last time, out of 13, onto the front straight with this little bit of a kink. There's Palmer, just saw him briefly at the top. O'Connell comes through and does it. 4 out of 5 on the street race circuit at Belle Isle. But what a battle for second. Andy and GTS, Dean Martin, the comeback story extraordinaire.
Wow, what a performance from Carnage. He wins here in Detroit, his second in a row. What a great day for him.
Yeah, sort of mirroring.
Woo,
Look at that
close.
move. That was very close.
Udell on Wilkins there looking for the 4th spot.
Almost had it, and of course Baldwin almost, Martin almost mirroring Baldwin after the wreck in Long Beach, coming back and winning at Barber. That's how you have to rebound, and obviously that's on the team, building these cars. The unsung heroes are these crews that put in these hours. So as we have another look at the downtown area of Detroit, we'll be back with round 6. Welcome back to the Cadillac CTSV Challenge at Belle Isle, presented by your Detroit Metro Cadillac dealers. What an absolutely glorious venue, beautiful weekend, and we've already had an amazing race unfold in the 5th round of the championship. Now it's time for round 6. All right, we're looking for it. Race time here at Belle Isle. Revs are coming up.
Longer wait than yesterday.
Yeah, we're
Palmer
green.
Pilgrim away. Good start by Skeen, but Palmer looks to the inside of Pilgrim.
Absolutely, and in GTS, Martin, oh, and a bit of a moment. That is Nick Kasayan, the natural Kiers, number 34. Looks like he stalled. Meanwhile, back to the action here. Big moment there by Marcello Hahn and the rebuilt Lambo, but gathers it back up. Great launch again by Palmer, Cal.
Yeah, and those McLarens are looking good. Look at this Mancuso to the outside of Safronis. Can't make it stick. Here comes his teammate, Lazzaro.
Mancuso almost nosing into the tires as he runs wide. Lazzaro back underneath, side by each.
Oh,
The two Ferraris
Primo
so close.
Ferry's going to be holding his breath right now.
And right behind them, Bergmeister and Mills in the 2 effort racing Porsches trying to take advantage of it. Then Hahn, and then Tim Pappas in that green and silver Black River Caviar Mercedes. But now up front, things starting to settle in a little bit as we get on the run down to turn 7.
Yeah, that was a hectic and fraught first lap, but so far so good. No drama, no one in the fence.
Big move, pop out somewhere, couldn't quite pick up who it was. And everybody now trying to be very careful through this serpentine section of track. The right at 7, left, the right at 11.
And again, we're seeing those caddies come to life early in the going, Greg. They're heavier machines, they work the tire harder, they get up to temperature and get the grip sooner.
And on a bumpy street circuit, their suspension, their ability to set things up really allows those cars to be fast.
And again, we talked about it early in the season, they have the notebook to work from. They've been here before for many of these other cars and teams, first time with this machinery.
Oh, and frustration here. There you see Martin with Udell, but a break. That's Bill Ziegler and one of the GMG Audis. They both got by him on the start, and Buffamani now bottled up. Buffamani's so quick in that warm-up, was looking forward to this, but he's going to have a heck of a time, I think, trying to get by that Audi now.
Yeah, that's tough because the Audi and the GT class are going to be a lot faster down the straightaway, and here we see the stack up. 2 Kias now running 5th and 6th. Here's the initial launch. There you see it. The saying doesn't go anywhere. Look at the stack up right behind him.
Oh, so tough. That's Mitch Landry, the VersaCrane Mustang, trying to work his way around. Clennon and the Premier Copier, Sean Aston Martin, finally, the saying was able to get going. And look at this. Lee actually finds himself up a little bit here.
Aschenbach, Wilkins had to wait. Wilkins had to wait on his teammate, and Aschenbach has got to run as they head into turn 4. He's going to have the outside line here, but inside for turn 5. Aschenbach makes a move around Wilkins. Can he respond? There's Jack Baldwin there. Second place yesterday, sits further back in the pack, just being patient.
Absolutely, and again, that's by virtue of fast laps, and he didn't have the lap he wanted in the race, so he starts farther back, just means he's got to have to do another one of those Baldwin-esque drives. But again, that battle between Aschenbach and Wilkins.
Yeah, Wilkins is coming, Wilkins is coming. He gets a run, he's alongside, now down into turn 7. This is a tricky spot. Oh, beautiful job there as we go on board with our IBAC suspension cam. Wilkins made a beautiful job there of getting the move done into a tricky brake zone.
Andy Lee really pounding these IBOX suspension components around this street circuit with the bumps. You get up on the curbs, and of course you need to keep it off of the walls. It just stresses these components big time. And IBOC, just a great partner to so many of these teams. As we go back to the action here, and again, there is there's the pass confirmed. Wilkins around Aschenbach, and Baldwin joining right up. O'Connell again, as we expected, making a little bit of a gap, but this time Pilgrim, without slipping back a spot, able to stay a little closer.
This is textbook stuff. You come to the streets of Detroit, you thought the caddies would be good. You know Johnny's got a lot of confidence here. And right now they are executing. This is what it's all about. You've got to win the racetracks that suit you. There's not a lot on the calendar that are going to suit those World Challenge spec cars. We go to tracks that have a lot more flowing nature. That's where the GT3 cars should be a lot stronger.
And that team, that's another part of it that we haven't alluded to. We talk a lot about O'Connell, and we talk a lot, obviously, about Pilgrim as we're on board with Robert Thorne.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is. A great weekend for him. And you keep in mind, he's a driver that doesn't have a lot of experience in this class of a car. Great young gun.
That's right. His teammate, Figge, certainly does have GT experience, but the team, they're starting to get their arms around this McLaren right now.
And getting those launches settled, and that's been a big help as well. Time for a look at our Optima Batteries best standing start, and it goes to the number 51 Sparco Oakley OS Geiken Nissan of Rick Boucher, up 7 spots. There he is in that silver and black machine, and he just hooked up, and at the end of that opening lap, it made up 7 spots from his qualifying position. Awesome launch.
That's a great performance by that team because they have struggled this week getting the car here. Did a 36 hours straight to get the car ready, and Rick hasn't been feeling well either.
That is the number 40 of Jeff Reeves. Second day in a row that he has found the wall. He had help in the Round 5 championship, but he's backed in here. So here's a look at our top 4 in each of our 2 classes. We'll be back. And welcome back, everybody, as we are under yellow, of course, for this big hit by Jeff Reeves and that Shadow Works Best IT number 40, the Chevrolet Camaro, teammate to Andy Lee. And here's a look at what happened, Cal.
Just exiting turn 2, there's a big jump there as you come over there, and if the car's not working, you can see he just turns it around, smashes the inside barrier there. Very fast section of the racetrack. Now on board there, you saw the little wobble, he tried to correct, and just loses the back end of that Camaro.
Those walls are mighty unforgiving, no question about that. We are coming back up for the green flag. Boy, the field really packing up, and we're getting reports that Nick Janssen has had a problem on track under the caution. We'll try and fill you in on that as we come up for green. That's a big blow to the Kia program as the green comes out. Johnny O'Connell, Pilgrim, and look again, Palmer now defending on Skeen.
Yeah, Skeen saying maybe I can repeat the favor that you gave me yesterday. There they run, line astern, the 2 McLarens, the 2 Ferraris.
And then that effort racing Porsche GT3R tucked right in there of Bergmeister. And Pappas taking a run at Marcello Hahn. That would be for the GTA battle lead, perhaps. And here we go, back into GTS. Buffamani, boy, now trying to unleash the speed he's certainly got as we're on board with Aschenbach, going around the outside of Lee.
Wow, what a move. Great restart there for Lawson Aschenbach. He now puts the pressure on Wilkins.
Boy, a little wiggle from Johnny O. You can see how hard he's working. Look at Palmer showing the nose to Pilgrim just for a second. Boy, that Audi, even on this, after this long caution, when usually the temp falls off those tires, he's looking pretty aggressive early.
He is looking really aggressive. Really impressed with his performances this year, coming off the big win at Barber. Second place here yesterday. He wants another podium and more.
Absolutely. He has been, I think, an absolute revelation this season. And now there's Anthony Lazzaro. We're going to hop on board and give you a look at those 2 McLarens up front, and right behind Lazzaro, his teammate Nick Mancuso, always aggressive.
He's always aggressive. A little bit of a quiet weekend for Nick Mancuso. I'm sure he expected a little bit more. Lazzaro had a late charge to the podium here yesterday. Now he's trying to put the pressure on Robert Thorne.
And it was interesting, during that charge, obviously late in the race, his car didn't have the pace of some of the others earlier, and that's why these guys ended up starting back so far.
He's such a veteran, though. He's got so much experience, and he's looking at the big picture.
And, of course, Bergmeister trying anything and everything, even with that brake, with the bigger restrictor. That car just not able to get up and race with these guys yet, as they are continuing to try and develop it. Back on board with Lazzaro, and what a battle chasing Thorne.
Beautiful tone there of that Ferrari motor you could hear from the GoPro on board.
Meanwhile, back to the battle in GTS, and still you can see Buffamani trapped behind Ziegler and just cannot, as a result, get up and do battle up front with Martin and Udell, and they are coming up there on the back of Curtis. Oh no, Andy Lee, another tough break. Yep, this time smoke from the back of the car, Cal.
Wow, that's a shame. Andy Lee came into this weekend expecting great things. It just hasn't turned out his way.
And apparently, word from the pits, a possible half-shaft failure for Nick Janssen. We'll be back as we're closing in on the finale. Here are your leaders in our 3 categories. The Cadillac CTSV Challenge at Belle Isle, presented by your Detroit Metro Cadillac dealers, continues to be a Cadillac 1-2. You always love it when a plan comes together like that. Not so for Andy Lee. That Crown 7 Best IT Camaro into the pits.
Yeah, just a rough weekend for Andy. He's one of the best in the business and needs a bit more support. I understand the sponsorship is a bit thin on the ground for him right now, so hopefully he can get the sponsors and the partners he needs to continue his campaign.
Meanwhile, Lazzaro continuing his attack on Thorne. This time he might have the run. Can he get to it deep on the brakes down into turn 3? And he's there, and he gets through. Nice pass by Anthony Lazzaro.
Yeah, tough to defend from Thorne's angle there. I mean, Anthony had the inside line. He's just going to creep down the inside, not force the issue, make sure he stays on line coming off. Just classic pass. He's starting to feel it right now. Lazzaro's car's coming into its sweet spot once again.
And that means probably so's Mancuso, and that means Thorne's going to have another Ferrari just chomping at him here as we hop on board now with Thorne. And that is Lazzaro. Once he got around him, boy, he has quickly been able to open that margin up. And as you said, this is the car that the way Anthony sets it up to wake up late for some reason, but when it does, it's fully awake.
Yeah, it comes alive in a big, big way. Beautiful onboard shot there as you come in that very tricky brake zone, turn 7. The car's still turning to the left as you're getting onto the brakes. That makes it tricky. This area of the racetrack, you just got to be so patient. Figgy there doing a great job up in the top 5.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when you push it in that section of track, like from Skeen. He's had the back almost swing around. He's had the front come loose. That's just driving it on a knife's edge.
Look at this.
Meanwhile, now here's that battle once again, and still Buffamani cannot figure out a way to get by Ziegler in the Swisher Racing GTA category Audi, which is straight in a straight line. But then, as you can see, they get into the twisty bits, and Buffamani and the rest of the gang all over the back of them. And Martin and Udell loving that right now.
Yeah, Udell's doing a great job here. He had a podium run here last year in Detroit, and his car is really hooked up, and he's doing a brilliant job starting to put the pressure on for the lead right now.
Yeah, fast lap last year, too, in one of the races. Obviously, they like the setup that they have for this track, and he continues to just fill the mirrors of Martin And then there's the Audi, and then, of course, Buffamani, the blue car now. Oh, so
tight.
close. Mancuso on Thorne.
Turn 4. Got to the inside, but not far enough alongside. And look at this, Lazzaro's now putting the heat on Figgy, who's Thorne's teammate. We're on board with Thorne there through turn 5.
Yeah, this is a fantastic. Oh, so close. And this is going to be the battle right now for, I think, the the 5th spot. These guys are going after it. And that's Figgy's got it. Good run here by Lazzaro.
Look
Not
at that. You're
quite
almost
enough.
blind there as you go through
Wow.
that kink. I mean, literally the car in front of you takes your vision away as you go through that curve and into the brake zone.
That's one of the things these drivers are saying now. These new rear wings on these cars are so huge. He said just creates another blind spot.
Look at this. Wilkins starting to put the heat on Buffamonte for the podium spot today. Ziegler to the inside on Udell. That was tight.
Very, very tight. And you need to be careful. These are the leaders in GTS, obviously. So you've got to be respectful of what they're doing out here. Wilkins trying everything he can to get by Buffamani. And again, as we're on board these great GoPro shots, watching this, Buffamani's got to be so frustrated knowing how fast he was in the warm-up this morning. Oh!
Look at this.
Traffic.
Turn 1. Skeen dives to the inside, starts to put the pressure on Palmer. And Sofronis is coming too.
Nice moves there by the two Global Motorsports Group drivers in those Spider Thermal Club machines. And that is Buzz McCall, teammate to Jack Baldwin, that they're having their moment with here. Look at this in the background, Lazzaro.
Until brake zone, Figgy tries to respond. It's too late. Lazzaro takes the inside line and gains the position. Lazzaro on the move.
Watch this here, just down to the inside. Virtually identical to what he did the lap before on the teammate.
Just a different McLaren this time.
This was a couple laps before, wasn't it? Boy, once that car comes alive, Lazzaro just, I wish he, I'm sure he's going, why can't we get this to just happen a little bit sooner? Because he is so impressive.
Yeah, just a beautiful run through traffic there. Look how much he's gapped those cars immediately, so traffic worked Lazzaro's way.
Some fantastic racing in all of our categories. When we come back, the finish is coming up. As we come back to the Cadillac V-Series Challenge here at Belle Isle, we are under caution while we were in break. A couple of incidents happened, and that's as a result, now has us under this full course caution. Here's the first one, and it was Jack Baldwin on Jack Roush.
Down into turn 7 here. Jack goes to the inside, and he ran over the inside curb, and I think that forced him a little bit wide. Nowhere for Jack Roush Jr. to go. Aggressive move by Jack Baldwin, but it's late in the go, and he's going to be going for it. Watch this. Gets up on the curb there. I think that just moved him over those few inches that were critical to Jack Roush Jr. on the outside.
And there's
just
the
ejected
look from Jack. Yeah, nothing he could do about it. Got into the wall. Now, that at that point, we were still green. They were looking at it, but just a few seconds, almost literally after that, this incident happened, and it was involving, obviously, James Sofronis and Alec Udell.
Yeah, this is it down into turn 12, and this is just a consequence, I feel, of different classes running on the street circuit. It gets tight. Alec was having a tremendous run in today in second. And he was looking in his mirror. He could see that Sofronis was coming. He wanted to give him room. I think the only thing he could have done was maybe adjust his speed on entry, let Sofronis clear him. He essentially gets into no man's land, takes that little tap. You're in the gray, you're in the dust, you don't have grip straight into the tires.
Yeah, unbelievable. Again, running second, and just a heck of a scrap that he had been having here working with Dean Martin. He was able to continue, but you see the damage to the barriers from the other incident. That's why the officials said we just have to go caution. Right now, that's not a safe situation, and we are now getting reports that this will finish under full course caution. There's just no way in time as we are coming up. This will be a white and yellow, which means it will finish under caution, and that's obviously not the way anybody wants to see it unfold, but you always have to pay attention to safety.
That's a shame, and I think it really comes into the strategy of the drivers too. You can't count on these races on the streets going their full distance, so if you're going to make a move, make sure you don't leave it too late. What a weekend for Caddy, particularly for Johnny O. 2 wins now this weekend. It makes it 5 out of 6 here, finished second in the other one last year, so he has a tremendous track record. And for Andrew Palmer, well, outside of the Caddies, he's maximized points this weekend.
Yeah, and especially when you look at how it started with that wreck. Basically they came back to qualify with a car. Ooh, and there is one of the McLarens pulled off. That's Alex Figgy has pulled off as well. I don't think he was involved in that incident. That's just a pull-off, it appears.
It's going to cost him big in the points, though. He's losing this final lap, so he'll plummet down the order.
Yeah, he'd been having a one of the better weekends, obviously, getting the launch control. They don't really have launch control, getting the start for those cars pretty well sorted out. They've been trying to change the engine mapping for first gear. That wasn't working, so they've thrown a couple other things at it. Much better this weekend.
Yeah, and they're starting to make progress. I mean, Alex Figge wants to lead, he wants to win, so he's not happy finishing in the top 5 or running in the top 5, but they're making gradual progress, and I think by the end of the year they're going to be knocking on the door for podiums, maybe can squeak a win out before the season's over.
Of course, these cars vastly different from what that team ran before, so that process is going to take a little bit. For Dean Martin, he's putting up some O'Connell-like numbers now. This is 3 of 4.
This is huge. I mean, this is going to be a big leap in the points for him. He's suddenly now a factor in this championship.
Absolutely. There is the checker again with the yellow. You just hate to see it finish this way, but it was the right thing to do just with all of that damage and debris to the track. And there are the 2 Cadillacs.
Look at that for a photo, finishing out the Cadillac pace car. And a 1-2 finish right behind it.
At the Cadillac CTSV Challenge, like I said, they love when a plan comes together. Look at Dean Martin, man. He is one happy camper from a comprehensively destroyed car at the previous round, taking a show car. The crew spending an immense amount of hours turning it into a race car. For Calvin Fish, I'm Greg Kramer. Thanks so much, everybody, and take care.